Now, SAP is not only a major tech company, but they're also a really cool brand. SAP's got sponsorships from the NHL, the NBA, even esports, and SAP also provides the technology to support all those leagues. So let's get back to the homeroom to see how SAP is helping those sports run, no matter how we're enjoying them these days.
Hi everyone, I am Melvin, one of the SAP Esports developers. There's Mike Vogt and myself, Melvin Metzger, and we are working closely together with Milan Czerny from sponsorships to promote SAP's visibility in the esports space. So what is esports actually? Esports is competitive multiplayer video gaming, where you typically have professional players that play in front of a huge live audience. Just to give you a number on that, last year's World Championship in Dota 2 had a peak of 1.1 million concurrent viewers during the Grand Finals. This is not even counting viewers from Asia. And they had a prize pool of $34 million. Now, since events in big arenas don't really work out this year, a lot of tournaments have naturally transitioned to being online-only tournaments. So where's the connection between SAP and esports? Well, esports is digital by nature, with extreme complexity and huge amounts of data generated within the games, which makes it a great space to explore with analytics. So we're using SAP Cloud Platform and HANA to build analytical tools for tournament organizers and for an esports team called Team Liquid to showcase what SAP is capable of in an extremely exciting and growing environment. So what do we do exactly? We partner up with tournament organizers like ESL that organize large esports tournaments. To give you another example of the reach of such a tournament, ESL 1 Birmingham had a total of about 30 million unique viewers and a peak of about 203,000 concurrent viewers over multiple regions and different language broadcasts and everything. So we are building solutions that analyze the live data of games being played live at a tournament and put it into context with historical data of past games to provide statistical insights that are shown on the live stream of the tournament during the game.
Hi, I'm JJ and I'm an in-game director and observer at Dota events. Data in in-game is really interesting. We have a very fortunate game here that exposes a lot of data, so we can get all the data, but the data is abstract in a way, it's just numbers. So getting into an in-game production and having graphics to visualize parts of the data can really help viewers understand context, can understand how exactly something happened on the screen, that the casters were talking about it, provide so many more storylines to the game and really provide a different story about the game than what it used to. Statistics as an in-game production are really interesting. There's a lot of different tools that you can use. For example, Valve has a tool in the game that you can use to provide pop-ins from a statistics perspective. There's also an overlay like we do at Layers. There's also something that can be done via the normal production, so like Expression or Caspar. So getting all this information onto the screen is a very interesting part because it's so many different ways to do that.
Now in ESL 1 Birmingham, we had a total of 96.4 minutes of visibility of those statistical insights on stream. And since each statistical insight is only on stream for about 3 seconds, you can see that we bring a lot of different insights to the audience.
The in-game production is really important nowadays, especially in the grand scheme of things. The general production have evolved so much. You have TV companies coming in, everything is super professional. You have these fantastic cameras, great panels, a stage that looks fantastic. But going into in-game is also still something where a lot of people struggle with because it's new. All the data that is in-game isn't really used by most people. They're not used to it. If you look at a football game, yeah, you can get data from computer vision, but you can't get it from the game. There is no game, there's no server. It's just football, right? So using this data and providing a very different in-game experience compared to what it used to be is really interesting and really important nowadays because fans appreciate these different stats. They appreciate the different storylines that can be created because of the data, because of people that really get into the nitty-gritty of in-game production. So the partnership with SAP is very important for us because of historical reasons. If we look at the in-game production and we take only live data, we're very limited on what we can do with the features. Now, if we provide context to historical data that we get from SAP, suddenly we can give the viewer more context themselves, and we can design features that need this historical data, which we wouldn't have done any other way. So data and how much more we can improve is really interesting because there is always more stuff to do. Right now we're looking, for example, into doing some automated video switching based on data, where you can naturally automate something like a rune camera based on data. And these are things that aren't really done right now in any capacity. And that's really cool because yes, you have data, and yes, you have something like an API for your video switcher, but right now it's not really used together. It's all still manual by experts that are very good about in-game. But in the future this could change, and of course we're also looking into that. Explaining what layer this is actually not that easy. It's basically a system that takes data from the game and tries to visualize it in the broadest sense. So if you're someone playing a carry and you say, hey, cool, he's farming a lot of jungle camps, and we can visualize that. A caster would only say, yeah, he farmed a lot of jungle. The observer sometimes showed a lot of, this guy being in the jungle. But now you have a very specific way to show it and visualize it, and the viewer to understand exactly what happened in this game. So the next step for layers are going to be really interesting. Right now we have still some features we want to realize in the in-game space, and then we want to branch out, be it other games, maybe different parts of the broadcast. We did a whole broadcast and graphic system for GSC and Moondux events. So we might think about this more in the future, where we provide a fully web-based interface and web-based layout, and all of these things make it very portable, very affordable, very easy to use, and look into something that's more than just in-game. In-game production workflow is really interesting, actually. We usually have a game stats guy, someone like Knoxville, who does his own things on his own stack, and he talks to the main observer or the in-game director and says, hey, I have a stat. Then that's a very audible communication. Then the whole layer stack is completely controlled by a Surface tablet, and that is mostly done by the main observer or the in-game director, which doesn't really have any sound to it or any communication in a way. It's just the in-game director himself controls it and feels like, okay, I want to bring this up right now, and because he calls a shot, he can do this right then and there. And then there's also still the second observer or the producer or the EVS guy for the replays, who also sometimes wants to talk to the observer or the in-game TD, asking if there is a replay, if it's safe, what sort of part they want to replay. So there's a lot of people actually talking to the in-game TD, at least in the setup like this. Even more structure, even better storylines, a much more intuitive style of broadcast, maybe something a bit more interactive where you get the crowd involved, the viewers involved, something that really doubles down on the community aspect of the whole broadcast, because we're in this fantastic community of viewers that are very engaged, and I feel like we should really take advantage of that.
SAP is also partnering with Team Liquid. Team Liquid is an esports organization that is comparable to Bayern München in traditional sports. Where Bayern München has teams in different traditional sports like soccer and basketball, Team Liquid has top-performing teams for different esports games. We've been working with Liquid's Dota 2 team for some time now, and since this year we're also working with their League of Legends team. For both the Dota 2 and the League of Legends team, we build analytical software to help them analyze their opponents and to get the information they need to stay ahead of the competition. And we're also supporting the local Esports Rhein-Neckar Dota 2 team, and they're playing at ESL Meisterschaft.
The esports scene in general and how it evolves is going to be an interesting one to me. Right now, I don't have super strong feelings about traditional broadcasting companies coming into the space, but there is always a need for more data, and this is where it gets really interesting to me, also from a scientific perspective. Because right now, a lot of people look into esports as this purely hipster, new school entertainment industry, and it's really not. Because there is people playing the video games for money, they're training, they're athletes. So a lot of these more traditional companies could look into esports in the future and really provide a different perspective, because we all grew up with esports, but these guys didn't. So having someone who comes in with a different perspective can be very interesting and beneficial to the scene.
If all of this was too fast, or you want to know more about what we do in esports, we have a new online experience for you to check out. It's already been part of the online format of Gamescom, where we had a super successful activation event with a lot of young talent interested in what SAP does in esports. So to break it down into one sentence, with the esports project, our goal is to showcase the power of SAP products in an exciting use case outside of the usual SAP business environment, and to attract young tech-oriented talents to SAP. Thanks for your time. Go check out that online experience. Bye-bye.
Stay in your seats, sports fans, because this one is going into overtime. At the end of 3 periods, the score is tied 4-4 between the Sharks and the Rangers. It all comes down to this.
All right, let's get this party started. Now, I've been going over the numbers on the SAP NHL Coaching Insights app. You want to hear who I think should start? Kuchar's group has spent more time on the ice, so they're probably a little bit gassed right now, but overall, they put up stronger numbers tonight. Pav's group hasn't been as consistent, but they're fresher than Kuchar's group.
Sharks win the faceoff. Pavelski lays it up to Burns, pushing into Rangers territory. Pavelski with the puck. Right on the money to Burns. He shoots. Oh, and a penalty is called on the Sharks, stopping play.
All right, looks like they're going with Hayes for the faceoff. Pav's got the better faceoff percentage, but Meyer has already beaten Hayes twice tonight.
Puck comes free. Pavelski comes around. He takes a shot and it's deflected. The Rangers take the puck up the ice. Rangers shoot right off the glove of Jones. Pavelski recovers the puck and clears it out just as time expires. With nothing at the end of OT, we're headed to a shootout.
So it's all down to the shootout. Who you thinking? Based on the numbers, I'd go Burns, Pavs, and Kuch tonight. You know, Lundqvist is one of the best goalies in the league, but Couture's got a great move that should work on him. I don't know, on the other hand, my gut says Hertl looks good. He's already scored a goal tonight. I think he's feeling it and is due for another. Maybe we swap out Kuch for Hertl.
Here we go, the start of the shootout. Rangers up first. VC approaches the net, shoots and scores! Pavelski up now, looking to tie it. Approaching the front of the net, backhands it, but denied by Lundqvist. Rangers hoping to extend the lead. Shoots, no good. Burns up now for the Sharks. He moves in, shoots, and he scores! The defenseman does it! All tied up now. Hayes trying to get the Rangers on the board. Oh, big miss, and that might cost them. It all comes down to this. Couture's up. A goal here wins it all. Couture getting close. Makes his move. Shoots. And goal! Right by Lundqvist for the win! Incredible! And just like that, the Sharks take home the W. Final score, Rangers 4, Sharks 5. Thanks to the SAP NHL Coaching Insights app, you made the call.
So thank you, Chris and Jan, so much for joining today. I've heard so many exciting things about the partnership that we've been doing with the NFL, and we'd love to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about what you do and the partnership in general.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I'll go first if you don't mind, Jan.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm a user experience designer with SAP. I've been with SAP for almost 5 years now. User experience design, just to let you know a little background about what it is. It's basically the study of how users use a product, website, or application. So we look at a lot about what the needs are of a user. We study, how to make the experience of using a product more usable. We make it more desirable in terms of how they go through their tasks when they use a product or application. And we try to make sure that the product provides value to them. So we're the advocate for the user. A lot of what we do is based around user research and trying to use design thinking methods to understand very clearly how the day-to-day work are for the end users. And then we sort of take that, research as a foundation and translate it into what you see in applications in terms of the interactions, in terms of the visual design and how the end users go through these applications. So that's a little bit about, UX for anybody that is not familiar with it.
And how about you, Jan? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, well, I'm what we call development architect at SAP. So my task is really to take these wonderful layouts that Chris and the other UI UX guys and girls are coming up, and then we make them appear. We really start the development, find the solutions to create the final application out of this these layouts, and it's very how do you say, it's a work where you need to be very creative in finding the solutions, because we need to respond to the challenges that are given by the artist, the layouts, and then to make that sound, and then we send back the application to the customers or to the users, so they can go about their business and hopefully come back with new challenges and more features.
So now you guys work as a team on an initiative that we're doing with regard to the NHL. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So yeah, Jan and I are working on an application called the SAP NHL Coaching Insights app. So it's a mobile app for iPads, and this application is used by coaches in-game to receive real-time data about their performance of their players on the ice. So this is it's a quite innovative idea, unlike I think any in a lot of the sporting arena today, and it's a big push for a transformation of how coaches strategize. Prior to this application, we got to understand how coaches create strategies in game, and it was paper-based, and it was and obviously still today coaches do obviously rely on their instincts and their gut, but a lot of the information that they were getting was only during intermissions on paper, or at halftime and things like that. So this was a huge leap in terms of delivering them real-time data and allowing them to get really interesting and innovative insights during the game.
Are you both hockey fans?
I was not a hockey fan before, but this project has made me a big fan, and I know so much more about hockey than I ever did. So
yeah, I cannot say I was a hockey fan, but I did learn a lot, and it made the sport much more interesting. Yeah. With all the statistics and the cool stuff we can see in the app now.
So walk me through, like, what are the challenges? How long did it take to pull this off? What are the steps that involve in doing something of this magnitude and making such an impact?
Okay, so here I have to say we are already at version 3 of the application. It's been in development for about 2 years, Chris, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. So the first iterations were really about getting live information, but also information that could be retrieved offline. That means if they take a bus or a plane or whatever, they still have the statistic on the iPad, and they can go back and analyze the results of the players during the game. And for this particular version, one of the cool stuff is the virtual replay. So NHL came up with a system that is tracking the players and the puck in real time during the game. So on the screen, you can have the action, just view from top, and you can, like in a YouTube video, do pause or go back to an action and replay or stop and analyze the position of the different players or what happened frame by frame almost. So that was a very, very nice new challenge, because we had to create a POC, proof of concept, to be sure that we could deliver that amount of data in real time on the iPad. So yeah, it's research, and then we iterate on it to make it solid as a product. So, but I don't know how many time it took to come up with the layouts, and that's more in Chris'
Yeah.
background.
Yeah, it's been a long road over the past 2 years or so that we've been creating this application. Like Jan, you said, we're in the third version now. That is transforming into almost a Internet of Things or IoT application with the new technology that NHL is deploying in the arenas for being able to track both the players and the puck, which is truly exciting. Where it kind of started was, as I said, basically trying to transform the experience, the coaching experience for the NHL League. And it was a joint project, and it still is, between SAP, NHL, and Apple. The project started in Cupertino back in 2018 with a kickoff meeting, a design workshop that was led by the Apple Enterprise Design Group. So, at that point, we started digging into user research. So we had coaching staff from the NHL join, and we got to hear about their day-to-day, experience there in the arena with their team. So that gave us a real good insight about what their day in the life was, and how we could actually innovate to inject it with more insights, more real-time data. So the beginning was really looking at, I think, the core that we heard from the coaching staff was face-offs. This is when two players get on the ice and the referee drops the puck, and they have to fight over that puck and try to gain possession. So that face-off strategy was very important. We also looked at a way to visualize, as you were saying, Jan, about being able to see like a bird's eye view of the arena and being able to plot a variety of different statistics on the ice physically in physical locations. So a coach can, go through this library of KPIs and say, I want to see all my shots for my team for the first period, and they'll be able to visualize that within, a 10-second frame. So that's sort of the foundation of where we started. But like I said, with the technology that NHL is deploying now, with being able to track physically players and puck, I think it's going to be something that nobody else has really seen before. Yeah.
So cool. What advice would you give to somebody who is considering, to be a development architect or in UX design, or just even a job at SAP in general, that you would give to someone? Because there's so many different roles. I mean, from an outside perspective, you would never even know that we do some of these things and get to work with Apple and the NHL and these types of things. Would love to hear your perspective on that.
Well, I can give you an overview of my journey at SAP. I joined SAP around 5 years ago or so. I was an iOS developer, full-time, independent developer. So taking small or medium size projects. But then I got recruited by Ibris, actually, that got bought by SAP. So I entered SAP via an acquisition. And there I got the opportunity to learn about SAP tools and careers, because there are a lot of technologies that SAP incorporate. And usually we don't really have that in mind when we come to work to SAP. Some are proprietary, like UI5, ABAP, things like that. But a lot of different technologies, Java, iOS, whatever, are also in use in the different line of businesses and products. So you have to keep curious and continue to learn every day tons of different topics, like security, training on the processes of a very, very big company also, because We are, I don't remember how many we are right now in SAP, but it's very interesting to get to know also and to work with people that are all over the world. Really, my team currently, I'm working with people in the US, of course, Brazil, Minsk in Belarus, and also in India. So that's for one project, it's going all around the world. That's very, very interesting also to learn.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, interesting. I didn't realize, Jan, you joined around the same time as me. So
No.
almost 5 years as well. I mean, for me, what I've realized is almost off the bat when I joined SAP is they just have a dedication to design and a dedication to innovation, and that was something that was just really clear when I first joined. They've got, for a designer, they've got great design platforms that they've built, like Fiori, that we use on our projects. It's quite amazing, and I think SAP also gives a good foundation for people to find what they're passionate about. So I was coming into SAP, I've always been interested in data and analytics. It's what I do, what I did prior to joining SAP. And I worked with SuccessFactors first, and I kind of, it was a surprise, but I got to work on mobile applications for the first time and found that I really, really enjoy working on apps. And, I was able to be part of this fellowship program that SAP has. And that's what actually got me introduced to this NHL project. So, I think SAP gives really good pathways for people to get exposed to different things that they might not be exposed to. One of them is being able to work on different projects. And like Jan, you were saying, we have this huge global workforce, and being able to work with different teams, I think it's quite an amazing experience. So yeah, I think those things really stood out to me and still do.
And also, I want to say I've never seen that before joining SAP, but since it's such a big organization, you can along your career change from one position to another. You can explore the different the different work that big company offers like that. I mean, I have colleagues that went from development to customer side counseling, or other moved up to management after a few years. So you really can make your way in the company to different places, also relocate all over the world, or in different positions if you have the will to do it. There are learning, a big part of the OpenSAP, for example, which is a learning platform that we have inside, keeps you up to date to new topics, new technologies, soft skills also, to be able to communicate with your customer, and not just stay behind your computer. So it's very, very, very wide. There's tons of possibilities. Once you have a step in the company, you can choose very different paths also. And you are supported to do the right move also. We have always someone to talk to that can give us some hints where to go next.
That's great. Thank you guys so much for your time. We could talk forever about this topic. I love it. I love the engagement. It's fantastic. And thank you so much for listening to our session. If you have any questions or anything, please encourage you to put in the chat, and always reach out. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. And thank you again so much. It's been really great.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.